Hello and welcome to Bourbon and Bullets. Know that it's been a while. I've been mainly working on my Substack, my written articles for those that are still following me. But clearly the message is that I need to be doing audio and video because that's how people are digesting their news and information. So definitely going to be putting the articles on hold for a while and getting back into the videos. And for those of you who are new here, thank you, and I hope that you will subscribe. But anyways, let's get on to the news of the day. And there is a lot of it. Yes, we're a week away from the Canadian election. And it's turning out to be a wild one. Mark Carney he started off strong. He knew that he had to only do the minimum 36-day election because the more people got to know him, the more people found out about him, the less they like him. And that's been shown out in the polls. Whether you believe the polls or not, his support is clearly sliding. And his support, as most of you probably know, is with the over 60 crowd. The boomers who have paid off their homes, are comfortable, and the only message they want to hear is Orange Man bad. I mean, it's pretty pathetic. While they cluck around with that stupid elbows up thing. I mean, you've seen the worst of Canada during this election, frankly. And the worst of Canada, I'm sad to say, are the boomers. Now, listen, I know there's a lot of boomers out there that are rock-ribbed conservatives. They've worked hard all their lives. They believe in free enterprise. And they're not part of these aging hippie boomers. So, apologies there. I don't want to lump you all in. I know that, not all, right? But yeah, I mean, the fact of the matter is most of the people following Carney are these boomer types that really they've gotten all they want is to have their old age security and Medicare. That's all they care about. And the rest they don't care if the rest of the country is enslaved by China. They really don't care. Actually, I got to be really careful talking about Carney's influence, or the influence that the large dictatorship across the Pacific has over him, because YouTube is quick to censor anything about that large socialist dictatorship across the Pacific that sells us a lot of cheap plastic goods. But anyways, I think you get the message. So during the French debate, probably you've heard about this during the French debate, but the reason I bring it up, I know lots of other people have covered, but it's worth talking about because it's very illustrative of media in Canada and what we can expect from a Mark Carney prime ministership. Not that that's assured, but I'm just saying this is something we need to watch out for. So Rebel News, they managed to get 4 questions, all of 4 questions in the media scrum following the French debate. Oh my God, whole 4 questions. And I guess a couple of other outlets like True North News, and then Keenan Baxter. I forget what his news organization is, but he got to ask a question. So the CBC got on, CBC and CTV both got out there with reports talking about how that horrible right-wing, far-right media monopolized the media scrum following the French debate. Well, that's not a monopoly. I mean, goodness, they got a question or two. That's monopolizing, because of course to them they feel that there should be no independent media. It should all be their questions and only their questions, because they follow the narrative like the good little scribes that they are. A lot of people, one thing that I haven't seen talked about in this whole rebel media, far right, asking questions at the debate kerfuffle, is that nobody points out that, and this is something that's changed from when I first started out as a journalist, working, for major newspaper chains, is that you have to join a union. You have to join Unifor. Unifor, who you have to join them, and Unifor openly campaigned for the Liberal Party. But so they talk about Rebel News and some of these others having bias. So not okay when they do it, but okay, of course, when their side does it. As we all know, that's how it works. But I mean, that's something that's not pointed out. You have to join the Unifor union, and yes, they are extremely left wing. They would be, they're probably part of the reason why the Liberals have moved so far left. Starting with Justin Trudeau. I mean, they always wanted to move more left, but they couldn't. They had to sort of be a little bit more towards the center to be that sort of big tent party, and of course win the elections like they do. But all pretense of that has dropped under Justin Trudeau, and they've moved very far to the left where they always want to be. I mean, Stephen Guilbeault, the environmental minister, he gets up in Parliament and calls himself a proud socialist. They couldn't be any further left. But that is how far the Overton window has moved through the working hand in hand with all the government legacy media, and they all are government journalists. As Ezra Levant pointed out, when he was confronted at the English language debate, where all these angry government journalists were confronting him, and he said, I'm happy to be the center of attention for a while, but I mean, the fact of the matter is that you guys are all government journalists, and you don't like independent media, which was abundantly clear. There was nothing wrong. And then on top of it, CBC just went on. CBC's David Cochrane, especially. I mean, the CBC as a whole, but CBC's David Cochrane just went on a complete tirade against both Rebel News and the rest of them.
So there we have it. I mean, the CBC. I mean, remember when Justin Trudeau was talking about the need to watch out for all that horrible disinformation and misinformation coming out, and that's why he needed to censor the internet. And of course, Carney, he just picked up where Trudeau left off. Oh, got to stop all that horrible misinformation, all those conspiracy theories. And meanwhile, here we have the CBC putting out misinformation, saying that Rebel News lost their press credentials and were walked out of the English language debate. Complete falsehood, completely defamatory, but that's the state broadcaster. And then we had Robert Fife over at CTV commenting after the French language debate, saying, "Oh, this is disgusting. They're not real journalists." Dude, you're not a real journalist. That is a joke. You're upset that independent journalists were allowed to ask questions that were outside the official narrative. That was another talking point from CTV. I can't remember if it was CBC or CTV, but really what difference does it make? It's all the same. One of their commenters over there, the government propaganda ministries, aka the legacy media, saying that GASP, the right-wing media after the French debate, were asking questions not relevant to the debate. Like, how dare they go off script? Don't they know they're only supposed to ask questions within a very narrow window that the leaders all have prepared answers for? We can't just be throwing them questions out of left field that, citizens actually want to hear, except for those brainwashed boomers. So yeah, that's the situation. And like I say, if Carney does pull off a win, we will see even more internet censorship. We will see UK levels of censorship. We're already seeing it. There was a woman that was Natasha, I'm sorry, I forget her last name, just a few weeks ago, that was covering the Palestinian protest in Montreal. She was assaulted by the protesters for asking questions. And what did the Montreal police do? Did they come to her aid? Did they arrest the men that assaulted her? No, they throw her down on the ground and arrest her for asking questions. Yeah. So it's already here, folks, and it's just going to get worse. So what's my prediction for the outcome of the election? Well, certainly Poilievre is rising in the polls as more people get to know Carney. The less they like him, which he pretty much knew all along. The guy's very unlikable. He's a WEF puppet, World Economic Forum puppet. He's all about the net zero, the net zero insanity. The former Prime Minister of the UK, Liz Truss, has said that he drove the UK economy into the toilet with this net zero nonsense. Of course, we hear this, but the normies out there, we've got to fight against the media propaganda onslaught, which is nonstop, and they're going to go into high gear in this final week with now that they're realizing that their boy Carney may not get in. Of course, the real worry though is, because we know that CSIS and the RCMP have said that there was foreign interference in the 2019 and 2021 elections, and there's going to be in this election. They know it. They know going in that the socialist dictatorship across the Pacific has their hands in very much into every aspect of Canadian politics, and they want their boy Carney in the prime minister's chair because, I mean, they basically own the Liberal Party pretty much, and it goes back to Trudeau Senior. But anyways, that's a video that's a whole story on its own. So my prediction for election night is that it's going to be very close on election night. I have a feeling it's going to be very much like the BC election, where it's still up in the air as we go into the wee hours of election night, and it comes down to a swing of maybe a half dozen seats deciding who gets the minority government. And of course, we all know how that goes generally when they have to start counting those magic ballots that come in at the wee hours of the morning. They seem to always go for the leftist politician. So yeah, I hate to say it, but my gut is that it'll come down to those 6 or 7 seats, and we'll watch them as they count them over the next few days. And yes, magically they'll all or enough will go for Carney. That's what I think will happen. Obviously, that's not what I hope will happen. But time will tell. It's a week out. Anyways, I'll be doing a couple of videos a day from now until election, including election day. So stay tuned here. If you haven't already subscribed, please smash that subscribe button. And until next time, this has been Bourbon and Bullets.